The Bradens seem like good people. Tim, age 34, was an auto mechanic for a body shop downtown, and Natalie, age 29, was a CNA at the local clinic. They lived in a nice 2-story house just across the river, with a few acres of land separating them and the nearest neighbors. When I got to the house, they met me near the garage and went over a few simple instructions for my babysitting stay. Emergency numbers are on the fridge, there's some microwavable dishes in the pantry, here's the code for the front door in case you get locked out. Everything seemed normal at first. Then I asked them where their twins, Joy and Julia, were, and they both got stone cold quiet. Finally, Natalie found her voice again.
Upstairs. In their room. You needn't disturb them.
Something about the way she said it seemed off. Are they already asleep? I knew the girls couldn't be older than 6 or 7, and it wasn't even past 5 when I got there. Why were they in their rooms now?
Leave them alone,
Tim ordered. His voice sounded authoritative and commanding. It bothered me more than his wife's nervousness. I just wanted to know what my duties were, if the children have already been cared for.
Watch the house. Netflix is set up in the den. Keep a watch on the back stairs. And don't under any circumstances let them out of their room. Is that understood?
Tim responded. This time I could tell there was a hint of concern in his voice. I'd never met them before, so of course my stranger danger radar was a bit more on point than usual. What were they doing to their children?
We'll return at 9:30. Keep yourself occupied until then.
They refused to answer any other questions, and I was left in an empty house. My curiosity piqued. I decided to start checking out the house myself to see what I could find. The den was first, and I found a few photo albums on display over the fireplace, making me smile about how old-fashioned this couple was. Opening them up, however, changed that perspective. The images of their girls were ripped apart or cut up, as though the Bradens were ashamed of their offspring. Instantly, I decided to go upstairs and make sure the girls were all right. But as soon as I saw their door, I was stunned beyond words. There were at least 3 padlocks on it, along with a metallic bar that kept an airtight seal on the room. Seeing it made me feel immediately uncomfortable, and I thought about calling the cops. What if they were molesting their children? As I turned to go back downstairs, I heard a soft groan from the other side of the door.
Please, we're hungry.
A soft little voice said. They were gently knocking on their wall, trying to get anyone's attention. That sealed the deal for me. I rushed to find the keys. Anything that could possibly help those poor children escape. Then I paused at the kitchen and looked at the numbers on the fridge. None of them seemed familiar to me as far as emergency services. So who had the parents put down as contacts? I pulled out my phone, took a snapshot of the numbers, trying to decide whether calling the cops was really the smart thing to do. Above me, I heard the girls knocking on the door. I didn't hesitate anymore and immediately called 911. I told them the situation and they promised to send 2 patrol officers over as soon as they could. Then I went back upstairs to try and calm Joy and Julia down. It's gonna be okay. 2 officers are coming and they are gonna get you out of there, I said soothingly. The girls were crying. They sounded so scared. I paced the living room, waiting for the cops to show up. When they did, they brought a few tools to break down the door. I stood to the side as they explained to the twins what they were going to do, and then I watched as the door splintered apart. Finally, the last bits of wood broke, and the door fell down to reveal a dark room beyond it. Had these girls ever even seen the light of day? The officers used their headgear to illuminate the room, which looked like your typical nursery, and slowly stepped inside to find the girls. I stayed back for a moment, not wanting to interfere with them doing their job. Suddenly, I heard one of the officers scream. It sounded like he had stepped on a Lego or something. Then the scream got louder, and it was followed by gunshots. Something large hit the ground, and I heard his nails scrape against the carpet as he was dragged under the bed. The second officer was no different. In less than a few minutes, something inside the room grabbed him and broke every bone in his body. I watched as he collapsed to the floor like a rag doll. Then, from amidst the dim light their headgear provided, I saw two tiny frames step over the broken fresh kills. Joy and Julia. They had smiles on their faces, along with blood dripping from their mouths. Their teeth reminded me of sharks. They stepped toward me, eyes gleaming like they saw me as their next meal. I panicked. I ran to their parents' room and slammed their door closed. Soon I heard those same gentle knocks on my door.
Please come and play with us.
The girls said in unison. I closed my eyes shut, trying to calm down and wake myself from what I was sure had to be a nightmare. Then I remembered the numbers on the fridge. I pulled my phone out and memorized them quickly, dialing as fast as my fingers would allow. Joy and Julia were already gnawing at the door with their sharp teeth.
Hello?
It was Natalie. "The children! They got out!" I shouted into the phone.
Why won't you play with us?
The phone line went dead. I was sure their parents' door wouldn't hold up much longer. I think I might have said a prayer. Hell, I might even have said a dozen. Suddenly, I heard a struggle outside. The children cried in anguish as their parents subdued them. Then it was silent again.
You can come out.
Natalie said. I opened the door with shaky palms. The parents were standing in the hall, covered in scrapes and scars, and glaring at me with disappointment. From behind them, I heard their girls angrily slamming their bodies against the inside of the closet that Natalie was closely guarding.
We'll have to pay you for only half the night.
Tim said as he pulled out his wallet. Wordlessly, I accepted the offer.
Will you be free Tuesday?
I couldn't think. This all seemed so surreal. I listened to the scratching against the door. I thought of the police officers and their broken bodies, and I shook my head. No, I don't think I will be available for any more babysitting.